All right, a little bit of a delay. Thank you for joining in. I apologize for that. Um, as I am, figuring out not only this platform, but then sometimes my internet just buffers and it doesn't want to get on. And anyway, creates all sorts of last minute fumbles as life usually does throw this at us. All right, welcome to the Wednesday check-in. And well, my theme for today, next week, and we'll see how much further is yes, preparing myself. And well, it's not so much preparing myself, it's I've decided to do something that I know is very challenging for me, not for me, but for these parts of me. And I was working with one of my colleagues the other day. I was able to get a session, and she was just like, "Yeah, these are all the sensations of this expansion, and it can be really uncomfortable." And I'm just sitting with all of the uncomfortable things and really trying to allow them to be here, um, allow them to express because my habit, my pattern is to judge these parts of me, to suppress these feelings. And I think I'm not alone on this. So let's go ahead and bring one hand to your heart and one hand to your belly. And whatever it is that you are either doing now in your life that's causing a little bit of uncomfort, or maybe there's something that you want to be doing that brings up uncomfortable feelings. Can I do it? Is it right for me? Can I handle it? What if it goes wrong? All of these things that come up. And let's just welcome all these parts of us into this space. And we don't have to put call any of them out at this point. We're just going to let them know whoever wants to come into this space right here and now, they are welcome. And just taking this time to arrive. And I feel like it is important to just take a moment before we begin the practice, just to go, I call all my parts that want to be here into this space. Mhm. And let's go ahead and yeah, sorry about that. um all right. Where was I? Coming to bring your attention to any mental activity that's going on right now. And let's just do a practice of closing the door on whatever it is that wants our attention right now, but needs to wait. And sometimes I just mentally will just close the door. And they can sit and wait outside while we do this very important practice. Mhm. And go ahead and bring your attention to your breath. And as you bring your attention to your breath, just notice if you're wanting to change it and that's fine. We're just noticing things. And just what kind of a breath are you taking in this moment? Is it a full, deep breath? Or is it shallow, constricted? And we're not here to judge it by any means. We are taking notes on how we are in this moment. So I'll say that I have a pretty deep and expansive breath right now. And keeping that focus on the physical, bring your attention to whatever physical sensations you may be feeling. And you might have one that's really obvious, something that's bothering you, a pain somewhere in the body. Or maybe there's like a subtle vibration moving through your body that you can feel. And whatever that is, go ahead and label it. Yeah, feel a little bit of pain in my lower back, in one of my vertebra. And we're going to go ahead and give it a number as well, a rating, 1 to 10, 10 being very painful or very intense. And so, like, this feeling in my back is probably about a 4 out of 10. Not too bad. And as we go through, I also like to scan the body for any tension in the, normal areas in the jaw or in the base of the neck and the shoulders, in the belly. Sometimes we hold in our belly, especially as women. And if you want to change, that's fine. But just bringing your attention to, I do have some tension. I am holding there. In the legs and the hips. And if there is tension or holding, go ahead and also give it a rating 1 to 10. And this rating really just is helping us to connect deeper with the sensation. And this is a subjective number. And now let's bring our attention to any emotions that are either present right now, or maybe there was something earlier in the day that you just didn't, it was coming up at the wrong moment, didn't have the time to really check in or feel this emotion. And so we might have suppressed it down. That's very natural. And now's a really good time to visit with it and give it some expression. So I've been feeling waves of, I guess, well, anxiety, uncertainty. And I know that it's just a part of me, but I'm just going to acknowledge that that's what I feel. And if anxiety is something that you're feeling, just know that anxiety really is like the top to a boiling pot, you know? And it's just kind of what we say when we're actually feeling something else, like fear. And so, really, what I'm feeling is fear on some level. And go ahead and say where you feel this in your body. And if it's an intense emotion that you're feeling really strongly right now, go ahead and start tapping on the side of the hand, okay? You can also stop this video, just tap and breathe on all the points. Mm. Or you can just let the emotion come through and allow it to be expressed. And so, where do you feel this in your body? We're connecting to it. I feel it in my belly, this anxiety, fear. And and then describe it just a little bit. Give it some words of description. So, like for me, I do mentally see like a spiral, spiraling right at my belly button. Mhm. So, you can get descriptive like that with it. Mhm. And now let's go ahead and visit with what parts are activated right now. And like I said, I have a part of me that's feeling some fear. Mhm. And I'm not quite, I kind of know where it's originating. And that's okay. I don't need to get too deep into it, into analytical mode. I'm just connecting. And say, maybe if whatever part it is, does it feel like it's a familiar part? Something, maybe a part of you that's been around for a long time? Or is it a part of you that feels kind of new? And we're still staying in the observer mode, okay? And if you feel like you're blending with that part, that's okay. On a certain level, it's okay. But we're just going to keep going. I'm blended with this part, maybe, and I'm aware of that, which means there is conscious awareness also present. Mhm. And what is the narrative? Like if there was one sentence that this part could express or say out loud, what would it be? Hmm. Now, I'm just going to mentally say mine. And now, just leaving this for a moment, let's come back to the breath. We're going to take 3 deepened breaths. And not too forceful. We're just going to inhale to comfortably full. Pause at the top. Sip in a little bit more air. And release the breath to the floor. Inhaling again till you're comfortably full. Pausing at the top. Sip in a little bit more air. And release the air and maybe anything else that could use a little releasing. To the floor. Inhaling for a 3rd time. Pausing at the top. Sip in a little bit more air. Pausing one more time. Expanding just a little bit more. And this time, shake. Release the air. Move your head. Move your shoulders. Sound on the exhale. And just take a moment to feel a little bit of the release and bring yourself back to natural breathing and feeling your body in your seat and feeling the weight of your body as it connects to the earth. And this connective energy is driven by gravity. And gravity makes sure that we are not floating away. And we are connected to this planet and to the energy it provides, as well as we can discharge whatever we need to into the ground. And now bring your attention to the air that surrounds you. And be aware that as you take a breath, this is effortless. It is life-giving, life-supporting, and something you don't even have to think about. And the energy in this air supports us completely as we carry out this mission we have on Earth. And now bring your attention to about a hand's width from the top of your head. And just imagine that space is like a highway of information. And this information is coming from higher intelligence. And just open up to the possibility that your attention on it helps you to connect to the stream of intelligent information. And this intelligence created this planet, our moon, the stars, the sun, you and me. And there is a conscious, aware self inside of us that is energy, and that comes from this energy. And just bringing yourself back into your body with a nice full breath. Maybe moving your fingers gently across your body. Opening your eyes. And let's begin tapping on the side of the hand. Even though. Actually, no, we're not going to begin with even though. Excuse me. I am giving myself loving attention. Go ahead and repeat after me. Because I love and accept myself just as I am. I am giving these physical and emotional sensations in my body loving attention. Because I choose to honor what I feel. I am giving loving attention to these parts of me that are active today. And these parts of me are asking for some attention. And sometimes they do so in a subtle way, little nudges. And sometimes they do it in very dramatic ways. And I'm learning to develop a relationship with these parts of me. Because these parts of me have been keeping me safe for a lifetime. Back during a time in my life when I did not have authority over myself. And sometimes I just had to go with the flow. And these parts of me were helping me manage all of that. And so I'm really appreciative to these parts of me for these roles they took on. And I'm hoping that today I can connect with them and help them to release some of these burdens that they carry. Because I am a person of authority now. And I can handle it. I'm giving all of myself loving attention right here and now, because I deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself, my whole self, exactly as I am. Coming to the eyebrow point, I'm giving loving attention to what I am physically feeling in my body right now. Side of the eye. And go ahead and say what it is that you're feeling in your body. Pain in my lower back. Under the eye. And go ahead and say, what was that rating that you came up with? And if it's shifted a little, that's okay. 4 out of 10. Under the nose, and go ahead and give it any more of a description. There's a vertebra, one vertebra. On the chin. And I may have training in me to disconnect from or numb what I'm feeling in my body. On the collarbones. But I'm learning that maybe the sensations in my body have valuable information for me. Under the arm. And I'm learning that by giving my attention to what I'm feeling, that a lot of times things can release. Maybe not every time, and that's okay. Top of the head, because these physical sensations are part of this human experience. Back to the eyebrow, and I'm giving loving attention to the emotions that I'm feeling in my body. Side of the eye, go ahead and say what those emotions are. Anxiety and fear. Under the eye, go ahead and give it a rating if you haven't already. 1 to 10, how strong do you feel this? It's a 6 out of 10. No judgment. Or at least we're observing if there is any judgment. Under the nose, and describe this emotion. Where do you feel it in your body? I feel it in my belly. And describe it a little bit. It's like a swirling spiral. On the chin. And I may have training in me that has taught me that my emotions are bad, or that there are some bad emotions that I should avoid. Collarbone. But I am learning more and more that being open to feeling these things without judgment and allowing them to express helps me to move the energy. Under the arms. And these emotions sometimes are connected to parts of me that are trying to indicate something doesn't feel quite right. Top of the head, and these emotions are part of this human experience that I came here to live, maybe. Or at least I'm opening to this possibility. Back to the eyebrow, and I'm giving loving attention to these parts of me that are active today. Side of the eye, and say what part it is. And if you don't have the right words for it, just say, what do you think it's trying to do? So, like, I have a part that's trying to protect me. Under the eye. And what physical sensation, this is subjective too, what emotion maybe is connected to this part of you? I'll say that this protector is definitely the source of this energy in my belly. Under the nose. And go ahead and say that one phrase, that one thing that it keeps repeating or it wants to express. You can't just let anybody in. That's what mine is saying. As I prepare myself to meet, put myself in a public setting, as I am right now, on the chin. And maybe I've been trained during my life to judge these parts of me as bad or wrong. And the collarbones, but I'm learning more and more that they just developed ways to keep me safe. And maybe it served me at one point. Maybe it doesn't anymore. Or maybe I'm deeply attached to how it serves me. Side of the arm, side on the under the arms. And I'm opening to the possibility that connecting and really getting to know these parts of me will help them to release these burdens or ways in which they protect me. Mhm. Top of the head. And these parts of me are part of this human experience, which I chose to come here and have. Close your eyes and take a deep breath in. Bring your hands to your heart. And just stay quiet for a moment and just allow whatever it is to come up, whether it's a message, a memory, or an image. And if you need some more time of quiet, please pause this video. And so now would be a good time if something did come up, like a memory, or maybe you're connecting deeper with a part of you. And you can just begin with the side of the hand and just start talking, whatever it is, and paying attention to what you're feeling in your body, the sensations that are coming up. Like in a memory, we can pull up a lot of times, especially if the memory was unresolved. We can either pull up the feelings of the moment or the feelings that developed afterwards. And so we can go through and just do a tapping round, just riffing on whatever it is, allowing this part to express what it wants to express. Letting it come out and be moved through the body and come out of those stuck places. And if this is something that brings up a very, strong theme for you, you can connect with me. You can also connect with any of my colleagues. But I have all sorts of resources that I can send to people, things that have helped me along my journey. And my journey has been, has had really tough moments. And it's all this stuff, it doesn't just go away. Um, Sometimes it gets more compacted inside or it becomes louder, more intense because it's just wanting your attention. And we're like so like patterned to just avoid anything that's uncomfortable. And so, if there's anything like super serious that you're dealing with, of course, having a licensed therapist working with you is very important. And I've gotten a lot of benefit from talk therapy. But I'll tell you, when things really started to change was when I started implementing the tool of EFT and bringing in this evidence-based practice. This is not something that is all new and, foo-foo and all of that stuff. This is something that has been studied for more than 20 years and longer, just in another form, under another name. And it's based on traditional Chinese medicine that talks about these points of activation and energy along the meridian lines throughout our body. And this is ancient, traditional Chinese medicine going back, I can't tell you how long. But what it does is it brings movement to the energy inside of you. It also brings a level of grounding into something that can feel very heightened and intense. Now, sometimes as you're tapping, and you're putting your attention on something and it becomes more intense because what's happening is you are allowing it to rise. And if it's something that you've pushed down for a very long time, then that can feel overwhelming. And I highly recommend, working with people like a skilled practitioner like myself, working with all sorts of other tools, and really grounding, practicing this grounding into your conscious aware self. That might feel like, okay, yeah, I can feel when I'm myself. And, like when something is taking me over, it kind of just takes me over. But if you have even just that, that connection of, yeah, I can kind of feel myself, you can expand on that easily enough. I was going to say very easily. But it takes each person the amount of time that it takes. I've worked with people with, big protectors. I'm somebody who had big protectors. I still have big protectors. And they are sounding out right now, as I'm, doing something that in the past has, marked me, in negative ways. And I know that part of this healing of those marks is like giving these protectors evidence of, you know what, this feels so good. Like doing this art show, putting my art out there, making all the videos and the stuff, getting ready for it, advertising for it. And, I know it feels so like scary. But we're going to be able to handle this. We have the capacity, to feel all of this. And if criticism comes in, we have the capacity to handle other people's criticism, because we know what really, you know, what it really means to us, to do this. So this is just like me riffing, on something that's going on currently in my life. Maybe it resonates with somebody. Um, and if it does, please let me know. Reach out, message me, visit me on my Instagram at Sydney EFT Guide. And if you're interested in having a connection call with me, go to my website, waveenergytapping.com. And there you can schedule a just 30-minute Zoom call with me. And if it goes a little over, that's okay. And we can get to know each other. And I can let you know that if I can, help guide you through something, or if I feel like, wow, this is, out of my realm, and I can still offer some suggestions and references and resources that really got me through some, really hard times in my life. Okay. Thank you for joining, and thank you for watching. If you've made it all the way to this point, I appreciate it. And see you next Wednesday.